Morning, John.
I told Karen when she did the agenda, she put the hard one first, because the first one in the Middle East. I have some notes that I had made and printed out after the packets were released. I've got a copy of them if you want to see them to go along with me, or I can just talk to you the way you want. So I'll leave that up to you, Mr. Chairman, if you want to have that in front of you.
What we have is,
That's an email. What I've got is kind of like a bullet points on it. It's got a little bit more information in there.
you have the extra copies of this? Yeah, she can pass on to me.
And there's one on there for Don as well.
Thank you.
I'll give you a second. I'll get those so you see. I was working on the budget and I just didn't have time to get it to you before the package came.
There's one for Dawn.
Basically, what I'm requesting is a vehicle. Our old vehicle that we got from AIM, as you can see, had 297,000 miles, and it gave up the ghost. It's not going to go anymore. And so it's kind of left us in the lurch. The other vehicles that we have currently for DSS is that 03 Cavalier and 1996 Oldsmobile. Larry can attest, it's been here a while. Cavalier's got over 140,000 on it, and that Oldsmobile is really not usable for trips outside the county. Air conditioner doesn't even work on it anymore. We ride around with the windows down. One of the things that's changed is social services in this past year, as you all well know, is the supervised visitation of foster children. That is that other duty that we took on when the Partnership for Children no longer do that. We hired and still do have a community social services assistant. She transports those children. As you can see on there, there's about a minimum of 7 a week, about 650 miles a week, or 2,795 miles a month that she travels just in transporting those children. And she used that van for that. Obviously, a van is the perfect thing for transporting multiple children at a time, and car seats. That doesn't include the miles that we put on that van for the other social workers, what they use for trips, visiting home, taking kids to daycare and schools. Our remaining vehicles really aren't suitable for our needs. The Cavalier is tiny. If you put a full-size adult in the front seat, push that seat back to a comfortable depth, there's about literally that much space between the front seat and back seat. So when you have a car seat back there, if you have a toddler, their feet, if they lean over the edge of their car seats, they're going to run out of the room. That has to have an infant back there. The Oldsmobile doesn't have airbags. It's so old it doesn't have airbags, so it's really not suitable for transporting or safely children. We've been borrowing your all's Malibu. As you well know, it's got a lot of miles on it as well, and we've tied it up quite a bit. But it's very difficult to get car seats in and out of, and so it's taken away from the county, and it's also, it's got a lot of miles, and we worry about its reliability. But in addition to that supervised visitation I talked about, as you can see on there, the different cities that we have to transport and go to on a monthly basis, and that's with our adult wards in addition to our children. You see Charlotte, Greensboro, Cross North, Wilkes, Monroe, and Sanford. And we go quarterly to Brevard, Winston-Salem, Dobson, and Hightown. So we travel quite a bit each month and each quarter. We really need 2 vehicles because our other vehicles are getting so old, and when we go out of the county, because we're using the van for our supervised visitation, when we go out of the county, we don't have a reliable vehicle to get out there. And what I was wanting to do was to talk to y'all today about our current need that we have since we lost our van. Then kind of give you an idea or alert you to the fact that what I want to include in our budget request for this year is another vehicle, an all-wheel drive vehicle. And reason being all-wheel drive, not so much for the snow, but the mud. And many places we go to are very difficult to get in and out of. And it's quite hard a lot of times, and an all-wheel drive vehicle would be very good to get in and out to some of our home visits that we do. As you can see, I put on there, if you looked at a used vehicle, now that is just a broad ballpark, $14,000, 50,000 miles. You might could get something a little less, more miles, or a little more money, less. But the rate of miles we put on it, if you have something with too high miles, then we're going to be having this discussion again rather quickly. If you looked at a new van, this is a Dodge Caravan, purchased through the state contract, it run about 2202. That's got the rear air conditioning in it and just basic van otherwise. On the reimbursement, what I put on there, that is what it's currently running right now. We're getting about 60.1%, leaving about 39.9 county cost. Don asked me, which any good county manager would do, he said, what's the absolute worst it could be? Well, I stripped everything out of the template, and if I made it as bad as I could make it, you know, we'd get about 34% would be the reimbursement we get, and about 66% county cost. It's never approached that in my 7 years I've been here. It's not even come close. The worst I've ever seen it probably was 1 month, probably up in the mid-40s, 45, somewhere around in there, county costs. I'm talking county costs at this point in time. At our current rate, you know, the reimbursement, our county cost would be about $8,700 on that van of 2002. You know, like you said, we're talking about safety and everything earlier, well, I'm talking about our children, transporting our children's safety, which we do on a daily basis. And we do need a vehicle that would be reliable and safe to transport our children, because either an adult ward or a foster child, they're our children until they go back. I mean, we have the responsibility for protecting them. Kind of wanted to let y'all be aware of our situation and see if you could do something else.
You have questions, folks?
So you would have a warranty with a new one, where on this $14,000 you probably wouldn't have, right?
That's true.
You know, the maintenance is done by county employees, is that correct?
Most of it, yes. I mean, but there's certain things that they will send to a garage, but anything that Josh and them can do, they try to handle all of it. Oil changes, things along those lines, they do all that. I think Josh and them are trying to get it so they can do air conditioning work as well, I believe. They're working on that, so they'll be able to handle the majority of it.
Any other comments or questions?
We discussed, excuse me, we discussed this issue at our first of the month DSS board meeting, and the other board members are Peggy Choate and Jane White, and these comments were made, and I wrote them down to share today. These trips are required by law to meet standard care by the state. It's not a choice. It's a state standard. And when we are transporting foster children, the county is the guardianship. It's not a pleasure or a luxury, but it's a requirement. It's a liability on the county for using improper equipment. And is this correct? I wrote this down. Social Services has not received a new vehicle since 2003, 11 years.
That's correct.
So you've been a good steward of county money and state money and federal money. And then I asked the question, why don't we use AIM for transporting our folks? And it would actually cost us more. John has explained to us that it would take 2 employees and the driver plus the DSS employee, and so it wouldn't be cost effective to use AIM, correct?
That's correct.
John, do you have anything, input on this?
This is pretty much most of our fleet. We do have, well, I can't go into the details of it, but, you know, there is a particular incident right now that Social Services is dealing with that would potentially require out-of-state travel in regards to a particular child. I've only found 2 vehicles, one a county vehicle, which I would have to commandeer that would be safe enough to take this trip, and actually another vehicle that I've commandeered from another agency to try to make this trip. So the reality is I believe we got our money's worth out of these vehicles, and we're to the point with most of our vehicles that are transported around that not only this vehicle, but you're gonna see other vehicle discussions coming up in the next budget year. The problem that John is right now is obviously the vehicle with 297,000 miles is just not worth putting any more money into it at this point.
The question, the vehicle that needs replacing is which one?
The one that's reflected is it's a van,
Is the van?
yes, and it had the
And
297,000 miles.
What would happen with the van?
Well, it's literally put up at this point, we'll sell it.
Okay.
I mean, it's just,
We'll be asked to declare it as surplus.
This is the one that only has 297 miles, is that the one we're talking about?
297,000, yeah.
Okay.
Is your bid cost of $22,002, does that include tax?
No, I would say that is not, that is the cost from the dealer, what they sell.
Have to
What?
include tax too?
Kim, is it 3%?
3% of purchase price. yes.
That's the only tax we pay, we do pay the highway tax, but the other tax we do not pay, state, local.
Can somebody do a quick? Oh, we're working over here on figures. Okay. Did you say, John, that this van, broke down with people on it?
Yes, it had one of our, well, actually, this community social services.
$661.
She had just dropped off a child, and she was coming back, and it broke down on the side of the road, so we had to go pick her up. We luckily didn't have a child in there at the time, but it broke down.
I was wondering. Okay. Commissioner Lee, have you got the number?
$22,663 includes the tax.
Well, we're being asked to vote on the request for social services, so at this point, the chair would entertain a motion on that vehicle, worded however you want to. I think unless there's more discussion. Mr. Davis? Mr. Goodrow?
I just know what vehicle they have, they pretty well wore out. Do know that.
I just find it interesting that we're bending over backwards trying to figure out how to pay for this vehicle, but when the sheriff requests two vehicles to protect the safety of our citizens, we bend over backwards to find ways not to pay for them.
I take personal offense at that statement, but that's okay. I'll make a motion to approve this van at a cost of $22,663.
And I'll approve that motion.
And any discussion? And we'll still be making a decision.
I understand.
In a week or so. Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion as stated, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you. This one's easier.
Okay.
This one is just a budget request amendment. As you can see, it's a daycare budget amendment, $63,208. There's no county money involved in it. It's money that we have received from various sources, 4E funding, Smart Start funding, and non-Smart Start reallocation money from the state and federal government. Basically, what I need you all to do is approve for us to be able to put it in our budget so that we can pay it out to local daycare providers and provide daycare services for our children. It's pass-through money.
No county funds are involved in
No
that.
county funds are involved.
Any questions or comments? If not, then Chair would entertain a motion to approve this request.
Make motion.
I'll
And
second
motion
that.
and a second. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor of the motion as stated signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?